Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Dutra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Shares of Kotak Mahindra Bank tumble after RBI bars the onboarding of new customers via digital platforms. Sources in the RBI defend the restriction, saying adequate time was provided to remedy the issues. Also add that the action is intended to have a demonstrative effect on the ecosystem. Bajaj Finance asks RBI to remove the restrictions on loan disbursal, saying it has made the required changes sought by the regulator. Bajaj Finance misses estimates in Q4. IndusInd Bank reports a mixed bag.
3, 2, 1.
Vodafone Idea FPO shares open at a 7% premium on the stock exchanges. Chairman Kumaramangalam Birla says fresh investments will trigger a new cycle of growth after the company raises 18,000 crore rupees. Tech Mahindra's fourth quarter revenue declines by 1% even as the earnings meet estimates. CEO Mohit Joshi says Q4 marks a low point for the company and performance will start improving in the new financial year. Shares of Facebook's parent company Meta plunge as much as 19%, wiping out $200 billion in market value. Mark Zuckerberg's plan to increase spending by $10 billion to bolster artificial intelligence does not go down well with investors, even as Meta reported a 27% jump in revenue. Swiggy receives board approval to launch a $1.2 billion IPO, also plans to raise 750 crore rupees from anchor investors. Ahead of the IPO, Swiggy is yet to reveal the timing. Indigo gears up to take on Air India in international skies, orders 30 Airbus wide-body aircraft for the first time to enable direct flights to United States and Europe. The planes will be powered by Rolls-Royce engines and will start arriving from 2027. Naas Modi Singa removed from the board of 3 Raymond Group companies amid a bitter separation battle with husband Gautam Singhania. Nawaz claims that the reasons cited by board members was not enough to remove her as a director. The companies defend the move, saying they followed due process. The CEO of Digi Yatra Foundation attempts to address concerns surrounding privacy of user data, defends the launch of a new version of the app even as experts call for a full review and regulatory oversight. 88 Lok Sabha constituencies across 13 states and union territories go to polls tomorrow. This includes the remaining assembly segments in outer Manipur as well. Voting will take place across all 20 seats in Kerala. Bengaluru will vote too. The White House seeks answers from Israel after a mass grave was found in a Gaza hospital that was under siege from Israeli forces. More than 34,300 Palestinians have been killed in the war so far. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken tells China to manage ties responsibly as he arrives in Beijing for his second visit this year. The bilateral talks begin with the threat of U.S. sanctions on China, looming large over its support of Russia in the Ukraine war. Markets gained for the 5th straight session, the longest streak in 2 months. Nifty and sensex recovered from opening low to end at the day's high, gaining over 0.5%, while banks rose in line with the blue chips. Mid-caps mildly underperformed. PSU Bank saw major buying, with the index soaring over 3.5%. Private lender Kotak Mahindra Bank has issued a clarification citing that restrictions imposed by RBI will not impact its existing customers. Explaining further, the bank has also said that it has taken measures to adopt new technologies to boost the IT systems. This statement comes after the Reserve Bank barred the bank from onboarding new customers on their mobile and online platforms and restricted them from issuing new credit cards. Shares of Kotak Mahindra Bank tanked over 11% in early trade on the back of this development. This massive sell-off wiped close to 40,000 crore rupees of investors' wealth in a single day. With this, the largest shareholder, Uday Kotak's net worth declined by $1.3 billion. And sources close to the RBI have defended the central bank's move to bar Kotak Mahindra Bank from onboarding customers via online and mobile banking and from issuing fresh credit cards for inadequacies in its infrastructure. Sources close to the RBI have said that the regulator wants financial entities to put greater importance on risk management and regulatory compliance. Ritu Singh joins us now. Ritu, the action on Kotak Mahindra Bank also a message for others?
You know, there's been a series of actions against financial entities by the RBI, leaving many to question the broader message the regulator wants to send and if the mode of supervisory action in these cases, a business restriction, is the best way to deal with non-compliance. Now, we spoke to sources close to Reserve Bank of India and the message was clear. If you look at the various actions taken against banks and NBFCs of late, the focus is on a few select areas: risk management and assurance, compliance of regulatory guidelines, board effectiveness, fairness to customers and governance, and the RBI is very keen to enforce these as priority focus areas for all regulated entities. That's the first message. Secondly, we understand that in these cases there is a minimum period of a year at least of bilateral discussions on the deficiencies, with more than adequate time given to respond and remedy the issue before any action is taken, and so it's not a moment of surprise for anyone involved. Third, the business restrictions, which may end up impacting customers as well, are taken only as a last resort of sorts to protect customer interest when bilateral engagements and warnings are not heeded to. Fourth, on the question of why action is only against select entities when other banks or NBFCs may also be at fault or non-compliant, we understand the action is targeted on entities where, one, non-compliance is persistent, and two, where the impact on the system is proportionately high. And so the RBI action is intended to have a demonstrative effect on the ecosystem. Lastly, if you've noticed, RBI has been given a more detailed explanation for the actions taken in public releases, very unlike earlier incidents where barely a line or two were dedicated to the reason for regulatory actions, and this, we understand, is based on feedback from stakeholders and to send a message to others to take notice and fix their houses if not in order, else face the consequences.
Another lender currently under restriction from the Reserve Bank is Bajaj Finance. Today, the company said it has made the changes after the regulator imposed business restrictions on two lending products. Last year, Bajaj Finance has also requested the central bank to review the business restrictions. The company also reported weak numbers in the fourth quarter, with both net profit and net interest income missing street estimates. However, the bank's asset quality has improved sequentially. Private lender IndusInd Bank reported a mixed set of numbers in the fourth quarter. Net profit was in line with street estimates, while net interest income missed the mark. On an annual basis, profit rose 15%, while NII grew 14%. The bank's asset quality saw some improvement on a sequential basis. IndusInd Bank has declared a dividend of 16.5 rupees a share. Vodafone Idea FPO shares opened at a 7% premium on the bourses, and the cash-strapped telecom company raised 18,000 crore rupees via the recently concluded follow-on public offer. Calling the FPO a turning point for the telecom industry, Aditya Birla Group Chairman Kumar Mangalam Birla said that it was the beginning of Voda Idea 2.0. He said fresh investments will trigger a cycle of growth and hailed the robust engagement from both foreign and national investors in the FPO as heartening.
Mr. Birla, many congratulations on this big fundraise. Do you think that most of the problems of Vodafone Idea that the group had been struggling with over many years, that is sorted for the next few years with this issuance?
I think so. I mean, without a doubt, right? I mean, we've been in the sector for 2.5 decades now, which shows our commitment to the sector and to digital India.
Yes.
And this is, like I said, a fresh lease of life for the company.
And what about Industar stake sale? Do you have an arrangement with Vodafone PLC that the entire amount of their stake sale proceeds will be infused in this listed company?
Well, not really, but you know, we're going to see as it comes. So nothing specific at this point.
As per the arrangement, what percentage is there?
I think we are not talking about
Yes.
yeah.
All right, and the government stake sale, is there any indication on that at any point
Stake
to monetize?
Sale, we're not talking about stake sale at all.
And more on earnings, Nestle reported a strong set of numbers, reporting a beat across all parameters. The company's domestic revenue rose 9% on an annual basis. However, the FMCG giant expects higher raw material costs to hit its margins sequentially. Tech Mahindra fourth quarter earnings was in line with street estimates. Net profit rose nearly 30% sequentially, while dollar revenue dipped 1.6%. The company's constant currency revenue declined marginally to 0.8%. While addressing the media, newly appointed MD and CEO Mohit Joshi said that the fourth quarter marks a low point of the company's growth trajectory. He added that the current fiscal will see an improvement in comparison to FY24.
We are now very confident that Q4 marks the low point in our year-on-year growth trajectory, right? Which means that we are confident that from Q1 onwards, you will start to see an improvement in our year-on-year performance. There will obviously be volatility between quarters because, again, this is the year of turnaround, so you should expect to see volatility. But beyond, Q4, there will be a year-on-year improvement, and we expect to come back fully to growth by the second half of the year.
In global earnings, shares of Meta fell nearly 20% and wiped out more than $200 billion in market cap as weak revenue guidance soured investor sentiment despite better than expected earnings. The social media giant's revenue surged by 27% year-on-year to over $36 billion. This is the fastest rate of expansion for any quarter since 2021. Its net income more than doubled to over $12 billion. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg shared his plans to increase spending by $10 billion to bolster artificial intelligence. He also said that the leading AI will be a larger undertaking than the other experiences Meta has had added to its apps, and this is likely going to take several years. Shares of British lender Barclays rose 4% after the bank reported better than expected first quarter earnings, with net income rising to £1.5 billion. Barclays had reported a net loss of £111 million in the fourth quarter of 2023 due to an operational shake-up designed to reduce costs and improve efficiencies. In the first quarter, revenue was down 4% year-on-year at £6.9 billion. Pre-tax profits also fell 12% to £2.28 billion. Food tech giant Swiggy has got the green signal from its shareholders for a $1.2 billion initial public offering. The company is planning to raise up to 3,750 crore rupees via fresh issue and up to 6,604 crore rupees as an offer for sale. According to reports, the firm is looking to file its DRHP next month and hopes to list later this year. This comes after Swiggy's food delivery business turned profitable in 2023. Swiggy's group CEO Sriharsha Majeti spoke to Shireen Bhan in January this year at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He said that the company is preparing for an IPO, but it is not in any hurry.
An IPO is an eventuality. It is an aspiration for us. And in terms of getting ready, I think the last 2 years, we've had so many great companies go out the door. And we've been vicariously learning from their experiences, also understanding what the market thinks of startups. So you could say that. And also early on, even without having a date for anything, we started onboarding like independent directors who are bringing so much value into the boardroom. So I would say, I think given that we've kind of been preparing for it, not in a hurry, but over time for eventual, whenever it happens.
India's food inflation may decline if we receive above normal monsoon this year. That's the word coming in from the Finance Ministry. As per its monthly economic review, India's performance has been promising despite uncertain global conditions and a cut in fuel prices, which has helped control inflation. The report said that geopolitical tensions remain a concern, but risk perceptions have softened. It also added that the market expectations stay aligned with the US Federal Reserve cutting rates later in the year. India's largest airline by size and market share, Indigo, has placed its first ever order for wide-body planes. The airline, which operates a huge fleet of narrow-body planes, has ordered 30 Airbus A350 aircraft, giving a further fillip to its international expansion. Madhya Mujawar joins us with more. Madhya, what does this mean for Indigo?
Well, Indigo has indeed entered the wide-body space, placing this order for 30 Airbus A350-900 aircraft. This particular model can carry 300 to 350 passengers and has a flight range of over 15,000 kilometers. Indigo has not revealed the exact configuration for these 30 planes, but what we know so far is that the engines will be powered by Rolls-Royce and the planes are expected to be delivered starting 2027. In addition to the 30 firm order, Indigo has purchased rights for an additional 70 A350 family aircraft. Now, Indigo currently has a fleet of over 350 narrow-body aircraft. The airline had ordered 500 Airbus planes in June 2023, but all were narrow-body planes. So, taking this and the earlier orders into counting, Indigo has an outstanding order book of 1,000 narrow-body planes. Now, we know that Indigo does fly international, but to shorter destinations like South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Gulf nations. It flies to Istanbul with 2 Boeing 777 planes that were wet leased from Turkish Airlines. Now, with the Airbus A350, Indigo can now expand its wings, flying to United States and European routes. It is important to note that Indigo will be the second Indian airline to fly the Airbus A350. Currently, only Air India flies the plane. Remember, Air India had ordered 40 A350 planes in June 2023 when it placed the 470 aircraft order. Air India's order included 70 wide-body planes, including 40 Airbus A350s, 20 Boeing 787 Dreamliners, and 10 Boeing 777X. Now, while Indigo's wide-body order is still less than that of Air India, it still remains the largest player in Indian aviation market and commands a 60% market share, which gives it access to a large pool of customers. So it may be starting slow, but there's probably a local competitor that's getting ready to take on Air India, not just in domestic, but also in international skies.
All right. Thank you very much, Madhya, for joining us with Indigo's growth plan and their strategy going forward. The battle between Raymond top boss Gautam Singhania and his wife Nawaz Modi Singhania has now reached the boardroom. Nawaz, who was a board director of JK Investors, Smart Advisory FinServe and Raymond Consumer Care, has now been removed from her position. She told CNBC TV 18 that she appeared before the board of the companies and also tried to make a case, but majority of members voted against her. Santya Gora reports on the family feud now spilling over to the boardrooms.
Raymond Group Chairman Gautam Singhania's estranged wife Nawaz Modi Singhania reached Raymond's South Mumbai office on Thursday morning. Nawaz said she was there to attend extraordinary general meetings of JK Investors and Smart Advisory FinServe.
I am on the board of directors of these three meetings, of these three companies. I'm on the board of directors of these three companies, and it is for my removal as the promoter. Major shareholder, which is Gautam Hari Singhania, has lost confidence in me.
Nawaz Modi Singhania claims that the reason cited by board members is not enough to remove her as a director.
There's no other black mark on my report. There are a variety of ways by which a director can be removed from office. And if you look up the Companies Act 2013, you'll find that none of those are applicable to me.
The meetings for JK Investor and Smart Advisory FinServe were held in Mumbai. Nawaz Modi Singhania physically attended these meetings and made her case to the board members. But majority members voted against her. The meeting for Raymond Consumer Care Limited happened in Aurangabad. Nawaz claims that her request to attend this meeting online was denied. Later in the evening, she was removed from the board of RCCL as well. In response to CNBC TV 18's queries, JK Investors and Smart Advisory FinServe spokesperson said that the removal proceeding against Nawaz Modi Singhania were initiated after the shareholders wrote to the companies that they have lost confidence in her. For RCCL, its spokesperson said the company received a request from a significant shareholder to remove her from RCCL's board. The spokespersons of all the three companies stated that Nawaz Modi Singhania has been removed as director following the due process under the law. In the meantime, Nawaz Modi Singhania maintained that the divorce negotiations between her and her husband Gautam Singhania have not made any progress.
He is renegade on everything. He had initially agreed that the right thing to do was to give his two daughters 25% each of his personal wealth and his wife 25% of the wealth and keep 25% himself. That has been well reported all over. And in spite of purported, in spite of this purported, intention of his, it was all a ruse. He had no intention of doing it. Multiple mediations have happened with different sets of people, whether it's lawyers, CAs, friends, family, etc., etc. And even though they have agreed, his people have agreed to what is being discussed, etc., and the way things should be settled, on the last meet, they come around and say, he just doesn't want to do anything.
Last year, Nawaz Modi Singhania accused her husband Gautam Singhania of assaulting her. She asked for 75% of his net worth for her daughters and herself. In Mumbai, Santiagora.
Coming up on India Business Hour, the CEO of Digi Yatra Foundation attempts to address concerns surrounding privacy of user data, defends the launch of a new version of the app, even as experts call for a full review and regulatory oversight. Details in just a bit. And you can also catch all CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. "89 Lok Sabha constituencies across 13 states and union territories will go to polls tomorrow in the second phase. This includes the remaining assembly segments in Outer Manipur as well. Over 1,200 candidates are in the fray in phase 2. All 20 seats in Kerala go to polls. The Congress and the left, who are alliance partners at the national level, are rivals in the state. The BJP, which has never won a Lok Sabha seat in Kerala, is upbeat about its prospects. 14 seats in Karnataka goes to polls. This includes constituencies in Bengaluru. BJP had won 11 of them in 2019. The Congress had won only the Bengaluru rural seat. Voting will also take place across 8 seats in UP. Constituencies like Gautam Budh Nagar, Ghaziabad, Meerut and Mathura go to polls tomorrow. BJP had won 7 of these 8 seats in 2019. 13 seats in Rajasthan would be going to polls as well. With this, the polling season would come to an end in Rajasthan. The BJP had registered a 100% success rate in the state in the last Lok Sabha election. The Election Commission has issued a notice to BJP President JP Nadda over complaints by 3 political parties that Prime Minister Modi's speech in Rajasthan's Banswara violated the Model Code of Conduct. The EC also sent a notice to Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge over BJP complaining that Rahul Gandhi's speech in Kottayam last week violated the Poll Code of Conduct. The Digi Yatra service was launched by Ministry of Civil Aviation in December 2022 to make air travel paperless and hassle-free. The app uses facial recognition software and uses your driving license, Aadhaar card or voter ID for verification. What was earlier believed to be a government service turned out to be one operated by a private entity. Recently, concerns have been raised about data safety and a possible data breach by a contracted app developer. Danish Anand spoke exclusively to the Digi Yatra Foundation CEO to get some answers. Here's his report.
Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia launched the Digi Yatra service on 1st December 2022 for passenger convenience and reducing time for airport entry and security checks. The Civil Aviation Ministry had emphasized that the service was voluntary and not mandatory. A year and 4 months later, experts are raising questions about safety of personal data being uploaded onto the app and whether it is actually being purged from airport servers after 24 hours.
We are already noticing these problems due to the ownership structure, the kind of incentives which are there, a private corporation doing it, and we need to look at how this kind of sensitive data, in which it's not only ordinary travelers who may avail of Digi Yatra, but also VIPs, also state functionaries who may avail it, and what kind of data is then being made available to Digi Yatra. I think it's imperative for the Ministry of Civil Aviation to start a review of this entire scheme.
In reply to an RTI query, the Ministry of Civil Aviation confirmed that user data is being handled by a private entity, which does not come under the RTI. What has raised more eyebrows is that the foundation recently suspended the services of an app developer who was arrested for an alleged cyber fraud.
The company in question is Data Evolve and was reportedly being operated by a single person. After suspending the services of the app developer, the Digi Yatra Foundation asked travelers to download a new app, further raising concerns about what has happened with the data already uploaded on the old app. Speaking exclusively to CNBC TV 18, the CEO of Digi Yatra Foundation said that Data Evolve had been selected on a recommendation of Niti Aayog.
They were selected through a startup challenge, which was run with Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission. This was as a sort of a initiative where we wanted to build this ecosystem with the help of an Indian startup. Something which I would not like to comment on. The matter is sub judice.
Several travelers have flagged concerns about the handling of sensitive personal data by a private entity without accountability and regulatory oversight. But the foundation claims that the app is based on privacy by design.
The fundamental tenet of the Digi Yatra Foundation, right, which is privacy by design, And the whole concept has been built with that fundamental tenet. And we use self-sovereign identity, which enables and empowers the passengers to take charge of their data, right? Neither the Digi Yatra Foundation nor any of its support service partners can have access to the data. This data is basically stored in a secure wallet in the phone itself. So from that perspective, there is no central storage of any data. There is no chance of any data leakage, theft, pilferage.
The Digi Yatra CEO defended the introduction of a new version of the app, saying architectural changes have made as the service is being expanded from 14 airports currently to 28 airports.
It has not ever been there, and it will never ever be there, because we ourselves do not have any access to the passenger's data. So suppose a passenger uninstalls the app or deletes the app, all the data goes away because it's only stored in that app, which is in the full control of the passenger. You can always say no to Digi Yatra.
The Digi Yatra service will be extended to 14 new airports by the end of the month, taking the total coverage to 28 airports. The foundation is now looking at passport-based authentication, which will allow the service to be extended to international passengers. But for the moment, experts are calling for a full review of the app and urgently bringing it under the regulatory supervision. In Noida, this is Danish Anand for CNBC TV 18.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you for watching. News continues right here on CNBC TV 18.